in the re. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time of day you're watching this. Maybe you're watching the recording later on. Maybe somebody shared this information with you that we're about to share. We've been doing this for some time, a number of weeks and months now. Time to tell the truth. Yep, that's what time it is. And some of you remember back in the day that TV show called To Tell the Truth. And so that's what we're doing, and hopefully giving the information. It's all about empowering. It's all about being informed, because we're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So who am I? Dr. Roslyn Shaw Belt. Everybody calls me Dr. Roz. I am the CEO of Dream to Life LLC, nonprofit productions ministry. I am a wife, a musician, and a bunch of other stuff that I've been blessed to do in my lifetime up to this point. But what's important today is being a certified wellness coach. And my mission is to empower you, to inform you, so that you can make intentional decisions about whatever. And so my certification is the fact of being a certified econompreneur and lifestyle consultant, and a certified wellness coach under Dr. Eric Prince, naturopathic doctor, with what we call the Flat Belly Lifestyle 2.0. So today's topic is the missing link. The missing link to your health struggles. What is that missing link that some of us don't know about? It's inflammation. Inflammation could absolutely, positively be the missing link to whatever situation that you're dealing with, that pain that you're going through, that disease, that issue, that chronic situation. Inflammation might be the missing link.
How do I get off this medication? By healing your body. All right, by healing your body. How do I heal my body? You need to get in the rowboat. I'm just saying, like, come on, y'all. Like nobody, I don't think this is what God meant for us, right? To be on this medication, to have this sickness. No, this is not the abundant life, okay? This is not the abundant life. So nobody wants to deal with diarrhea, abdominal pain, fatigue, weight gain, okay? Loss of appetite, dizziness, shortness of breath, nausea, metallic taste in the mouth, and weakness. No fun, no fun.
Most important thing is change our diet. Our diet's high in starch and sugar, refined oils. It's full of additives, pesticides, herbicides, emulsifiers, thickeners, additives, sweeteners. I mean, it's a disaster, and it's an inflammation causing mess. For example, gluten is a huge inflammatory food in our diet because of the way we changed our wheat production. People go to Europe and they don't react, but in America, the dwarf wheat has way more gluten proteins, way more starch and sugar, so it's way more inflammatory. Ideally, you can get a hold of heirloom gluten foods, farro and triticale and chemet and emmer wheat and einkorn wheat and zeo wheat. I mean, these may be better for you if you don't have celiac disease, and they may not cause the same level of inflammation. Dairy is the other big one, and in my practice, I see it all the time. It creates congestion and digestive issues and allergies and acne and generalized inflammation. And then, of course, sugar. Sugar is a huge factor by its effect on laying down belly fat. Adipocytes, which are your fat cells, produce cytokines, these inflammatory molecules that rove around your body, creating basically a wildfire of inflammation.
Now, he definitely said a whole lot of stuff, but the whole gist of what he was talking about was inflammation. So how do you know if inflammation is the missing link in your health struggles? Well, there's so many different things that we could be dealing with: fatigue and joint pain and digestive issues, weight gain, mood swings, heart disease, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disorders, heart disease. That was misspelled by the graphics, right? Frequent headaches, high blood pressure, recurring infections. All of these are just some of the things to let you know that the missing link regarding what you are dealing with could possibly be inflammation. So let's just talk about inflammation for a minute. Inflammation, what is it? It's the body's way of protecting itself. So that means it's a good thing, right? When you're injured or you're exposed to some harmful substances like a bacteria or a virus, you get a cold, you get some processed foods or stress. Well, here's what your immune system does. It sends out a signal to heal and defend. Now that's short term acute inflammation, and that's helpful. But when the body stays in a state of chronic inflammation due to a poor diet, due to stress, due to the lack of sleep, or due to hidden toxins, then it becomes damaging. And so chronic inflammation has been linked to a lot of things like we just saw, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, depression, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. But it also plays a role in internal pain, internal degeneration. See, a lot of times we think it's only age, but do you know that when your tissues are irritated or you're injured or they're breaking down, like in arthritis or maybe a disc problem, you've been diagnosed with a disc problem or nerve impingement, then your body releases inflammatory chemicals like cytokines or prostaglandins that trigger pain signals. They trigger things like swelling and stiffness and prolonged tissue damage if the root cause isn't corrected. So even when there's no visible swelling, excuse me, internal chronic inflammation can be active in your nerves, in your joints, and your tissues. And it constantly will be irritating that particular area. And then you're living with intense pain. So when you experience that internal inflammation, many of which involve the joints, the discs, the soft tissues, the spine, inflammation is the common thread. Even though they've put another label on it, they've given it a name of what you have or what you're dealing with and the reason you're dealing with it. In a situation like these, the inflammation that happens in your body now causes that thing to hurt more. It worsens in pain. And it accelerates the degeneration. And it increases your stiffness. And it may cause even those surrounding muscles to stay tight or to have spasms. And what does that do? Further causes you discomfort. Even though structurally abnormalities are a root cause, the chronic inflammation surrounding those joints, surrounding those nerves and those muscles, that's what's driving the daily pain. I know I'm talking to somebody right now who's living with daily pain, occasional flare-ups, and even mobility issues. And so we don't recognize that there may be inflammation taking place in your body that is increasing the intensity, causing you to go through more than what you're going through, that you should not be going through. And we're going to today deal with it in such a way that hopefully it will help you in your body. So food can either feed that inflammation or fight it. As we're going through this, I'm hoping that you will begin to intentionally start saying, okay, what am I doing? Am I feeding the inflammation? Since I'm already in pain or since I'm already dealing with an issue, what am I doing now? Am I adding to it or am I fighting against it? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus. Everybody put that word focus. Put it in the chat, put it in the anything you're watching. If you're watching live on Facebook, put it in the chat and say focus. Because we got to focus on foods that help calm the immune system and support the joint tissue and reduce the pain. Everybody wants to reduce the pain. Nobody wants to live in pain, but sometimes we can go through stuff in pain so long and so often that we think that's our norm. And there are literally foods that can be anti-inflammatory. Things like what you're going to get from the broccoli, carrots, mangoes, pumpkins, spinach, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes. What are you going to get? You're going to get beta carotene. That's anti-inflammatory. Phenolic compounds that are in apples and blueberries and cocoa, grapes, onions, peanuts, red wine, and tea. And then the extra manganese that we're going to get, we can get it out of brown rice, lean meat, low-fat milk, mussels, pecans, seafood, lycopene, vitamin C, selenium, vitamin E, zinc, All of these are anti-inflammatory that can be found in food, not a pill, but in food. And these are things straight from the ground that you can't put in a pill.
6 powerful foods that help heal the body. 1. Berries for antioxidants and blood sugar regulation. 2. Sea vegetables, like Irish sea moss and nori, for iodine and thyroid health. 3. Nuts and seeds, for healthy fats and protein. 4. Green leafy vegetables. They are good for magnesium and potassium. 5. Herbs. These include stinging nettles for detoxifying benefits. 6. Fruits. From a tropical fruit farm for their cleansing properties and nutrient content.
The best anti-inflammatory foods that help heal your gut. Number 1 is fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation. Number 2 is turmeric. This spice contains curcumin, known for its potent anti-inflammatory properties. And number 3 is ginger. Ginger helps reduce inflammation and has been shown to help many digestive issues. And number 4, leafy greens. Spinach, kale, other leafy greens are high in antioxidants and help lower that inflammation. And number 5 are your berries, your blueberries, your strawberries, raspberries. These berries are rich in antioxidants and have major anti-inflammatory effects. Number 6 are your nuts. Your almonds, walnuts are a great source of healthy fats. They'll also help reduce inflammation. Number 7 is your olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil has anti-inflammatory properties and can benefit gut health tremendously. Number 8, I love them. They're fermented foods. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi. They contain probiotics and help support your gut health.
So that's what we want to do. We want to promote our gut health. We want to promote the things that are going, because what, 75% of your immune system is where? It's in your gut. So we have to focus, what was that word? Focus on those kinds of foods that are going to keep down that inflammation. So now let's touch on some of the ones he talked about. He said berries. Now you've heard us talk about berries often in every conversation almost that we're in, because that's how powerful berries are. All of those berries, rich in antioxidants, all right, that reduces that oxidative stress, helps to lower that inflammatory markers. Haven't you heard us talk about leafy vegetables? We can't get away from this. These are the answers to so many of our problems, especially the generation of kids today who only get a vegetable when they eat a piece of lettuce on a hamburger. So we've got to have more on your plate, green leafy vegetables, the spinach, the kale, the arugula, because it's high in chlorophyll and magnesium and vitamins A, C, and K. And it helps detoxify the blood and help modulate immune responses. What about these fishes, the salmon, the mackerel, the sardines, the fatty fish, packed with omega-3 fatty acids? We're getting too much omega-6. Omega-6, every time you drive through the drive-through, you're getting omega-6. Every time you eat ultra-processed foods, you're getting omega-6. We don't need any more omega-6 in our lives, really. We just really don't. But we need a whole lot more omega-3. And that's what helps to reduce the joint pain, the stiffness, and again, those inflammation markers that are causing pressure in your bones, in your tissues, whatever that thing is that you've been diagnosed with, that you're living with because of an accident, because of something that took place, and now you're causing the increase of pain. So we're going to balance the immune system. Nuts and seeds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia, contains healthy fats, magnesium, and fiber. Again, omega-3s are the antioxidants that help to reduce the inflammation. And then herbs like stinging nettles, natural COX-2 inhibitor, like some anti-inflammatory drugs. It's used traditionally to reduce arthritis and joint inflammation. He talked about extra virgin olive oil. And we know that even our extra virgin olive oil is different from where it originates, but still it's going to be much better than using vegetable oil because of what it contains, natural things, anti-inflammatory compound, similar to ibuprofen. See, we don't want the ibuprofen, right? So it supports heart and joint health. Then you've got sea vegetables like kelp, like nori, like dulse, rich in iodine, magnesium, and polysaccharides. helps detoxify and regulate immune function. And we know fruits, especially the colorful ones. Oh, get some color in your life, right? Because it provides the polyphenols and the vitamin C. It neutralizes free radicals that trigger inflammation. Turmeric, how many of you you've heard people say about turmeric, right? And it contains curcumin, one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatory agents. Then we got ginger. We were just talking about that in a conversation just recently. Adding ginger to your diet, adding ginger to your smoothie, adding just a little bit of ginger to your drinks. Contains gingerol, which lowers inflammatory markers again and helps for that joint pain and digestive inflammation. And then fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, supports a healthy gut microbiome, which is essential for controlling systematic inflammation and helps reduce that leaky gut and support immune balance.
These are the 15 best anti-inflammatory foods you can eat. 15 ginseng, 14 smash fish, 13 oregano, 12 broccoli, 11 extra virgin olive oil, 10 mushrooms, 9 cat's claws, 8 tomatoes, 7 black pepper, 6 fenugreek, 5 cardamom, 4 dark chocolate, 3 turmeric, 2 ginger, 1 matcha green tea.
These are the best anti-inflammatory foods in your grocery store. First off, we have matcha green tea because it's super high in EGCG. Next up is broccoli sprouts because it's super high in sulforaphane. Ginger because it contains gingerols. Turmeric because it contains curcumin. And berries of all kind because they're high in anthocyanins. Dark chocolate because they're high in specific flavonols.
Now, of course, we're hearing the same thing over and over again, and that's intentional, guys. Repetition is the mother of learning. I want you to hear it from different voices, from different shades, from different dialects, everything, because we've got to focus on these missing things in our diet. That matcha green tea, that was something new for me. So I'm going to be looking up matcha tea, how I can get matcha tea. And you see that? Even matcha ice cream. What? It's rich in EGCG, right? One of the most powerful antioxidants known. It blocks inflammation at the cellular level. That might be something I definitely need to look into. It reduces oxidative stress. It supports the liver detox. It balances cortisol levels. And then broccoli sprouts. Some of you are growing your own food. This is an easy way to grow something in a small space. Broccoli sprouts, not the whole broccoli, just the sprouts. But it's high in sulforaphane, a potent plant compound that activates your body's natural detox and anti-inflammatory pathways. And it detoxifies at the cellular level. If you haven't figured out yet, that's where we need to get down to the nitty-gritty, the rooty-tooty. We got to get down to the root of things at the cellular level. And it reduces inflammatory markers and supports gut and immune health. He also talked about dark chocolate. Yep. Okay, all you chocolate lovers, I'm one of them, love chocolate, right? But that dark chocolate, 70% or higher, is packed with flavonoids. And I promise you, your taste bud can get used to the little bitter flavor that it has that you don't get in the milk chocolate. But I just need you to focus on, is it helping you, right? Is it helping that inflammation? Ginseng contains ginsenoside, that suppress pro-inflammatory cytokines, especially helpful for reducing fatigue and inflammation in that chronic illness. Smash fish, that's the sardine, the mackerel, the anchovies, the salmon, the herring. We talked about it earlier, but now we're breaking it down because it is so rich in omega-3s, and it's going to calm the overactive immune responses. Oregano contains carvacrol and thymol, which have antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. Anytime we see the word anti, we're helping this inflammation that's causing the other pains in your body. That's pushing against your nerves, pushing against your joints, causing that arthritis to flare up. Then we got broccoli. Yeah, love that broccoli. Loaded with sulforaphane and vitamin C. Helps deactivate inflammatory pathways, especially in the gut and in the joints. Hello, all the folks who dealing with arthritis, all the folk who dealing with internal stressors on your joints and your tissue, all the folk who have been told by the doctor, we need to do surgery on this, and you've said no. Well, here's what we can do, right? Increase the broccoli in your life. Increase all these things that are missing. And then mushrooms, shiitake, maitake, reishi, so many others. Don't knock it till you try it. I promise you. You might say, oh, don't do mushroom, but try it. There are so many ways to fix them these days. Go on YouTube, find people that are cooking them that look like you to give you a little motivation, and watch and see, won't you be pleasantly surprised. Contains beta glucans that modulate the immune system, anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer effects, especially when it comes to chronic illness. And then he said something about cat's claw. That was a new one for me. Didn't know what cat's claw is, but it's a powerful herbal immune modulator. It reduces TNF alpha, especially in arthritis, tomatoes, especially cooked, rich in lycopene. That's another one, tomatoes, an antioxidant shown to reduce inflammation markers. You might want to de-seed those tomatoes, right? Black pepper contains piperine, which enhances the absorption of other anti-inflammatory compounds like turmeric, and also has anti-inflammatory properties itself. And then fenugreek, which is saponins and flavonoids, reduces your blood sugar spikes and inflammatory markers. And lastly, cardamom, which contains cineol and limonene, which reduce inflammatory and muscle tension. And as you can see, some of these you can get fresh, some of these you can get right there in the, not necessarily even in your health food store, right there in your grocery store.
Most important thing is change our diet. And our diet's high in starch and sugar, refined oils. It's full of additives, pesticides, herbicides, emulsifiers, thickeners, additives, sweeteners. I mean, it's a disaster, and it's an inflammation causing mess. For example, gluten is a huge inflammatory food in our diet because of the way we changed our wheat production. People go to Europe and they don't react, but in America, the dwarf wheat has way more gluten proteins, way more starch and sugar, so it's way more inflammatory. Ideally, you can get a hold of heirloom gluten foods, farro and triticale and chemet and emmer wheat and einkorn wheat and zeo wheat. I mean, these may be better for you if you don't have celiac disease, and they may not cause the same level of inflammation. Dairy is the other big one, and in my practice, I see it all the time. It creates congestion and digestive issues and allergies and acne and generalized inflammation. And then, of course, sugar. Sugar is a huge factor by its effect on laying down belly fat. Adipocytes, which are your fat cells, produce cytokines, these inflammatory molecules that rove around your body, creating basically a wildfire of inflammation.
The thing is, guys, our body tells us what we're doing. I mean, anytime you can eat something and all of a sudden your body immediately reacts to it, that's a sign. That's a sign. You can drink some milk, or you can take something that's dairy and all of a sudden your nose starts running. All of a sudden your eyes start watering. That's a sign. And so I think we've got to learn. We've got to, again, we're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So we've got to educate ourselves and focus and recognize we may just be eating in our diet foods that fuel inflammation. Why are you hurting? Why are you having pains, aches and pains, going through with arthritis, joint pains? And I know the doctor said, you've got this problem here in your disc, you've got this problem here in your joints, you've got this problem here. And not to negate that you do have that problem, but are you helping that problem with the food that you're eating? So certain foods fuel the inflammation. Sugar, high fructose corn syrup, it's fueling, it's making you hurt more. Processed foods, box snacks, fast food, white bread, pastas, pastries, fried foods, vegetable oils. And see, most of us, if we're in the screen here, we're in this all of the time. I'm not saying every now and then you have this or every now and then you have that, but I've known people that drink multiple Cokes a day. I know people that eat sweets all of the time. We feed our kids the cereals every single morning. And we're raised on the fast food. We're raised on the processed food. And nobody has told us, like we talked last week, the journey of the processed food. Last week, we talked about in our last session, how we weren't raised on processed food back in our great-great-grandparents or the African culture. But over time, processed food became a part of our lifestyle. And all of a sudden, it became a part of the health industry's money-making as we decrease in our health, as we increase in the amount of cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure that we have while they're making money. So if you're always using vegetable oil, I remember back in the day when my mama used Crisco, and that was the big lard, that was the big scoop of the white, drop it in the skillet, right? Didn't know that was literally taking us to our grave. And vegetable oils, canola, soybean, corn oil, red and processed meats, it's there. We're going through the deli and we're saying, oh, I'm doing better because I'm not doing bologna, or I'm not doing this, I'm doing turkey. Well, it's still in that same package in the same area, right? So red meat, processed meats, artificial additives. We thought we were doing better. I don't do sugar. I just do equal. I do sweet and low. I do Splenda. But not reading that pack to see what are the additional things that have been added to that. Right. Anything with an OSC. We taught I think it was 5 series, part series, 5 or 6 part series on sugar. Where it is, it's everywhere. It's in that box, it's in that can, it's in that jar. But what we've got to do is put movement in our lives. Movement is medicine. For all you folks that don't like to exercise, I'm not saying you have to go to the gym. You just got to have some movement. That movement can be yoga, it can be stretching, it can be swimming, it can be walking. You've got to do something to reduce the pressure on the joints. And we live in a society now where we sit all of the time. So we got to have movement. Movement is my medicine. I need that to be a part of your dialogue now. Movement is my medicine. The next time you're doing something, whether it's movement sitting in the chair and you're doing because there are exercises everywhere. Just click on YouTube and find you something. And then support your gut. 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. So many people died. So many people went on ventilators during COVID because of a compromised immune system. Didn't have to. If your immune system was not compromised, you were not affected by it. Or if you were affected by it, it just sloughed off. It didn't even take you down because of a strong immune system. So what do we do to support our gut? Prebiotics and probiotics. Things like kimchi, sauerkraut, plant-based yogurt, fiber-rich foods like garlic and onions and bananas. And then limit antibiotics and alcohol. Heal your leaky gut with bone broth, if not vegan, or plant-based alternatives. And then we can reduce those hidden triggers. There are some hidden triggers. Everything is not about food. Sometimes it's your stress. It's the stress in your life. It's the stress in your relationship. It's the stress on your job. Because stress increases chronic cortisol. And that equals more inflammation. So you're stressed out and then you're hurting. And you're causing the people who are stressing you out to cause you to hurt. So you got to chill. You got to find a way to chill. Prioritize your deep sleep. Some of y'all don't sleep enough, don't sleep long enough. You're always waking up in the middle of your sleep. And we've done a whole series on sleep and what we can do. We got to eliminate those toxins even in your home. Yes, even some of the plastics and some of the chemical cleaners. Many things, as you learn it, you start making changes. Like we've made changes with our toothpaste because there are toxins in the toothpaste, the kind that you just normally get at the grocery store. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. And address those dental infections, mold, or other hidden sources of inflammation. And then target natural support if you need it, those supplements, because we can't get everything or enough of everything in our food oftentimes because of, the way they grow stuff. So curcumin from the turmeric and omega-3 supplements and magnesium and vitamin D, boswellia, bromelain, or CBD oil.
I want to talk to you about red dye number 3 and them just banning it. Now, let me tell you why I'm so excited, okay? I believe from my own personal research and dealing with experts now for years, the stuff they're putting on in our food makes us sick. There is a reason that when you travel to other countries, everybody has the same experience. Oh, I ate and I drank and I came back and I'd lost weight. It's because there's crap in our foods that they don't allow in foods in other places. Red dye number 3 is one of them. Red dye number 40 is, let's say, as controversial. And I wish they had done more than what they just did, but I'll take it because they waited too long to do this. Now, what is it? This red dye is the stuff that you see in sweets. That's what it's here. It's got some other long name, but it's known as red dye number 3. And they just banned it. But I'm telling you, they took it out of cosmetics within the industry years ago because they were worried about it. But they left it in our food? So the FDA did this today, okay? Finally decided to ban this red dye number 3. Why did they do it? Why is this good? That's easy to answer. And why didn't they do more? What's stopping it? Dr. William Lee, okay? One of my medical team, medical director of angiogenesis and the author of Eat to Beat Disease. Dr. Lee, good to see you. Red dye number 3,
Good to see you, Chris.
right to ban it. Why, and why not 40?
Well, this has been a ban that's a long time in coming because, as you pointed out, the data of the harm of this drug, this food coloring that could actually cause thyroid cancer in animals violated a law called the Delaney Clause that the FDA was supposed to follow 35 years ago. And the data actually emerged in 1988 and was published by a group in Japan, subsequently repeated and confirmed. So it was banned in cosmetics in 1990. And we've been waiting, we and other, myself and other people that have really been championing that our food should be safer, finally have a reason to celebrate this one needed small step forward.
But why is it so hard? If other countries are doing it, if you have this research all the time, and I get it that, just because it's in animals doesn't mean it would be in humans, but what happened to the do no harm thing? And why is the government so slow to push up on these? Is it because of the agribusiness lobbying? Is it because of the need of abundance in this country? I mean, what is it that keeps stuff that, even if it's questionable, why would you have it in the food?
Well, listen, I'm a scientist and I do cancer research, and I can tell you that many of the innovations that we experienced in the 1950s and 60s and 70s that were amazing at the time, science is now beginning to tell us, in this case, a long time ago, but even more recent research is telling us that the things that we thought were okay before are not so okay now. And so I think what's happening is that the zeitgeist of our nation is now saying we need our country to protect our interests. So finally, this move actually shows us that the FDA cares.
Well, I don't know that they care, because I think that they'd be doing more. At least they did something. And again, it's a little weird that they do it right at the end of the term like this. How concerned are you about what is still in America's foods that is not or are not in other countries' foods?
Well, I'm hoping that this is going to be a precedent, a first step to show that there's accountability by the FDA and other regulators to be able to look at what's in our food, be transparent about the research that's been done, and to listen to the American people on what they're going to allow or not allow. There are laws in place to be able to do this. In fact, we need to be more progressive about this. And I think that one of the things that everyone is looking forward to are changes in our regulation to be able to highlight the good things in food and highlight the bad things in food. This is about transparency, and it's about actually letting people know what's going on. I can tell you for red dye number 3, if anybody wants to look at where this actually lives, go to the Environmental Working Group, their database. You can actually search red dye number 3 and look at the 3,000 foods that it appears in. And by the way, the ban that was announced today gives the food industry until January 2027, so 2 years to get it off the shelves. So I think that now it's up to consumers to be able to look at the ingredient labels. Is what I always tell everybody. Don't be afraid of red foods. There's lots of natural red food coloring, beetroot and others that actually are perfectly fine. They're used in Europe and elsewhere. But if you actually pick up something that looks red, don't worry about it, but do check the ingredient label to see if there is red dye number 3 or any other numbered food coloring that might actually raise your suspicion.
The next one's got to be high fructose corn syrup. That is the one. If I could get one thing out of food that I know would help us with type 2 diabetes, with our obesity issue, with so many of the problems that we see with our kids, that would be it. And I know that because I read Dr. Lee's book. Anyway, Dr. William Lee, thank you very much for joining me as always. It's good to see you and Happy New Year. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to
Hey, let's get some ice cream.
How about this one? Pistachio, almond fruit fudge, butterscotch delight.
Ingredients: zinc trisodium aspartate, sorbitol and bisulfate, oxide beta-carotene, lactic acid carabine. Grade A milk emulsified, maltodextrin alkylide, silicon dioxide, lots of sugar. Hey, all right. Calcified synthetic salt, artificial barley malt, glycerin and aspartate, folic acid. That tastes great. Monosodium glutamate, dehydrated calciumate, soybean oil, butter fat, caramel center. I'll eat that. Hooray for sugar, cause we love it. Chocolate chips, we want more of it. Cakes and ice cream, want to shove it down our throats real fast. Here's a candy bar, you tried it? Hey, let's all see what's inside it. Gelatinized triglycerin, phosphate, soybean lecithin, deoxylite, trisilicon, dipped in chocolate. Bring it on! Citrus enzymes, BHT, powdered milk. Sounds good to me! Baking soda, carob gum, carbohydrates. Yummy yum! Monosodium glutamate, zinc disodium alginate, whole grain flour, yeast and fat. Time to eat it. I'll do that. We like sweets a lot, so give us all you got, and we'll stuff them in our bodies till they make our insides rot.
That's what we're doing. Stuffing it in our bodies till our insides rot. That's the whole truth. So here's my challenge to you. Here's my challenge. Whatever it is you're eating, ask yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? And just be honest with yourself. Doesn't mean you're not going to eat it. But you ask yourself, is this helping me or is this hurting me? Because I don't believe anybody wants to really hurt themselves. But we got to be aware. We've got to be intentional about everything that we do. And then get this stuff out of our bodies. That's why it's necessary to detoxify your body. And we challenge you. We challenge you to start with a 4-day detox. We call it bitters. Get some bitters. 4 days. We're getting ready to start one actually Sunday night and go do it 4 days. And it helps to boost your digestion, regulate your appetite. The person that invited you to watch this, if you're watching it, you just kind of scanned over on Facebook, or if somebody sent you a video, then guess what? They loved you. They care about you. They care about your family, and they want you to start making intentional changes. And this is an easy way to do it. So get back with them, and they'll probably be able to guide you through the path of how to get to bitters, because it helps to alkalize the body and reduce the inflammation. And it just takes 4 days. You're still going to be eating, but we just want you to eat we got a meal plan, a regular meal plan with some protein and stuff like that. But you're just going to boil 40 ounces of water, take it off the heat, drop the tea bag in there, let it sit for about 8 hours and get stronger, and then put it in the refrigerator and just drink 8 ounces every single day for 4 days and watch what happens. And it's a gentle detox. Yeah, you're going to the bathroom. And I'm not going to tell you that it tastes great. It doesn't. So it's not just about something that tastes great, because bitter really is better. Yeah, we live in a culture where we want everything to be sweet. But there are cultures like in Africa and Jamaica and other places where bitters is a part of their daily diet. Something is bitter. So it's a reset. Break the cycle. Listen to your body and ask yourself, is it helping me or is it hurting me? We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bring somebody, invite somebody, share somebody that you love.